What if the voices of ancient civilizations were never truly silenced, only waiting for the right moment to be heard again? For centuries, the ruins of lost empires whispered faintly beneath layers of ash, sand, and stone. Their libraries burned, their scrolls shattered, their languages forgotten. But something has changed. Today, machines are learning to listen where human ears have failed. Artificial intelligence, spectral imaging, and digital reconstructions are bringing these ancient voices back to life. And what they're saying? It's not peaceful poetry or dusty philosophy. It's something far more unsettling. From buried temples to sealed tombs, hidden messages are being uncovered, revealing rituals, conspiracies, and power structures that mirror our own. These aren't bedtime stories from the past. They are confessions, warnings, testimonies from the edge of history. And at the center of it all lies one final language, the last to be decoded, a language that rewrites everything we thought we knew about history and ourselves. Across the globe, archaeologists are recovering fragments of ancient civilizations once thought lost forever. In the burnt ruins of Herculaneum, scrolls charred by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius are being read again for the first time in 2,000 years, thanks to multispectral imaging and machine learning algorithms trained to reconstruct ink patterns invisible to the naked eye. On the sands of the Middle East, tablets buried beneath collapsed ziggurats are being scanned, revealing languages that haven't been spoken in millennia. Some are written in scripts so damaged they resemble abstract art more than language, until deep learning models begin decoding their structure. In caves and crypts from Africa to the Andes, voices from the past are being pieced together, reassembled from ash, clay, and bone, not through magic, through science. But there's a common thread in these rediscovered records, a thread of secrecy. These aren't histories of agriculture or architecture. They're records of rituals, of power dynamics, of veiled warnings to future generations. They speak of knowledge deliberately hidden, destroyed, or buried, sometimes by the very civilizations that produced them. Why? Perhaps because what they recorded was never meant to survive.
Take the Library of Ashurbanipal, once the greatest repository of knowledge in the ancient world. After its destruction, many assumed its contents were gone forever. But scattered fragments of its clay tablets have been found across excavation sites. One such fragment, when decoded, did not describe trade routes or mythology. It detailed the inner workings of a secret order embedded within the royal administration. Individuals who performed ritualistic ceremonies meant to bind heaven to earth through sacrificial means. On the island of Delos, fragments of marble inscribed with an unfamiliar dialect described a ceremonial rite involving the alignment of stars and the manipulation of sound frequencies. At first dismissed as mysticism, these texts are now being revisited through the lens of modern acoustics, and they are showing strange correlations with resonance frequencies found in sacred architecture. Then there are the forbidden books of ancient China, manuals said to hold the blueprints of dynastic control, which scholars claim were systematically erased from state archives during regime transitions. Some passages from reconstructed versions speak cryptically of engineered chaos and controlled opposition, eerily similar to tactics used in modern psychological operations. Everywhere these ancient voices emerge, they speak of the same themes: power, secrecy, sacrifice, and control. Not all knowledge was meant to be shared. This idea, echoed across multiple civilizations, suggests the existence of a forbidden class of information, a category of secrets so dangerous that merely writing them down risked societal collapse. In Mesopotamia, these were the Me, a set of divine decrees said to govern the very structure of civilization. It was said that only gods and their chosen intermediaries were allowed to access them. Yet fragments of unauthorized interpretations, scratched hurriedly into temple walls, have surfaced, describing rituals involving sound, geometry, and human consciousness. In Egypt, scribes known as keepers of the hidden words recorded esoteric teachings on scrolls made of black papyrus, hidden deep within temple basements. Some of these texts spoke of the duat, a metaphysical realm accessible through altered states of consciousness. Others warned of misuse, of rulers who used sacred geometry to bend perception and assert divine authority. A newly uncovered Phoenician tablet goes even further. It warns, "He who speaks the full truth shall be silenced in eternity, but he who wraps it in riddle may walk among kings." Forbidden knowledge wasn't just about technology, it was about psychology. But nothing compares to the discovery made just last year. Beneath a collapsed structure in what was once a major trade city, a sealed tomb was uncovered. Inside it, resting beside a skeleton believed to be a disgraced temple scribe, was a stone tablet containing a script no one had ever seen before. 24 lines, perfectly preserved, but indecipherable. The lines didn't match any known grammatical structure. They appeared scrambled, meaningless. Until a researcher, using a deep neural network, ran the text through a series of pattern inversions. One result stood out. When the sequence was flipped, mirrored, and translated, something chilling emerged. The tablet was a manifesto, a final confession, a testimony from someone who had witnessed firsthand how truth was manipulated, rituals fabricated, and disasters engineered to secure obedience. It accused a priestly caste of staging omens to manipulate the masses, of using celestial events as psychological triggers, of rewriting history over and over again to maintain power. It warned that the greatest weapon ever created was belief. But the final lines are what shocked everyone. They read, "This knowledge will return. When stars realign and machines see beyond the veil, the truth shall rise again, and the cycle will begin anew." The scribe seemed to know his words wouldn't be understood for centuries. He was right. It's easy to view these as ancient superstitions, but the tactics described in these texts bear a chilling resemblance to modern systems of control. Manipulated narratives, controlled opposition, the use of fear and ritualized behavior to secure loyalty. Even the deliberate rewriting of historical events to shape public perception. Whether orchestrated through religion, politics, or media, these are the same patterns. The ancient conspiracies were not isolated. They were instructional. They left blueprints, and those blueprints are being followed. What was once shrouded in incense and marble now hides behind algorithms and data centers. But the core strategy remains the same: control perception, and you control reality. Throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen, yet the methods they used to hold power, those have survived. The texts we are now decoding echo a pattern that's disturbingly familiar. They speak of staged calamities, floods attributed to divine wrath that were later revealed to be dam releases. They speak of oracles delivering public messages that mirrored the private agendas of rulers. These were not accidental coincidences. They were engineered belief systems. What's most chilling is that this architecture of control didn't vanish with ancient kingdoms, it evolved.
Today, we see similar tactics in media spin cycles, corporate-sponsored narratives, and carefully orchestrated public spectacles. From viral propaganda to weaponized information, the strategies outlined in ancient texts now operate behind digital curtains. One fragment recovered from a ruined temple in Anatolia described a mirror of voices, a system where multiple priests would deliver contradictory messages to the public, so confusion would lead to dependence on the ruling council. Replace priests with pundits and councils with corporations, and the parallel is hauntingly clear. These tactics are no longer hidden in temple basements. They're embedded in apps, woven into networks, streaming into homes. The control systems once etched in stone are now coded in silicon. So now, the voices of the ancients speak again, not in chants or songs, but through algorithms, reconstructed texts, and AI-assisted revelations. Their messages are clear if we're willing to listen. What was hidden is being revealed. What was buried is rising. And the last language, decoded from the tomb, is not just a relic of the past. It is a mirror, one that reflects the systems we live under now. The ancients have spoken. The question is, will we hear them? This is not just a story about the past. It's about a cycle, one that begins with knowledge, bends into power, then spirals into control. The ancients left us more than ruins. They left us warnings, warnings etched into stone, buried beneath ash, whispered through languages long forgotten. And now, as machines begin to speak those languages, we're hearing the warnings louder than ever. What we do with that knowledge, whether we ignore it or act on it, will shape the next cycle. Because in the end, it's not just about what was hidden. It's about who benefits when the truth stays buried. The ancients are speaking again. The question is, are we finally ready to listen?